Welcome everyone, second episode of the Devrel Roundtable series. And yes, I really love this intro song, even if I heard this a couple of times. And today we'll try to solve a real world issue. We will try to solve the issue if Devrel is marketing or not, and why this question is even a thing. So before going into the main topic, first of all, I have here amazing speakers, great co-host. I met them in person, all of them. Actually, the two speakers, I met them the same day at the same conference. So let's start with the introduction. And I would like to start with Liran. Liran, how are you? How's it going?
Hey, fun stuff. All good, all good. I'm happy you kind of already raised that and baited us with whether Devrel is marketing or anything else. It's a good start. I'm a Devrel. I do Devrel stuff at Snyk, so trying to get developers to kind of like and understand security. So yeah, I'll keep it at that and shoot it over maybe to Tejas.
Yeah, hey everyone, I'm Tejas. Kumar. I've had the privilege of working in Devrel for many years now, and also the privilege of meeting Francesco and Liran at many events. I've yet to meet Nimrod, but hopefully one day in person. That'll be fun. I can't wait to talk to you about Devrel today.
Awesome. Pleasure to have you, everyone. I'm Nimrod. I'm CEO of Daily.dev, which is a platform that helps over 1 million developers stay ahead of everything that's happening worldwide and nowadays with AI. It's one of the best ways to stay on top of everything that's going on there, among many other things. But excited to have this conversation here today. And yeah, definitely, Tejas, I'd love to meet you in person. Maybe in Tel Aviv, we'll come to one of the meetups that Liran suggested that we host.
There we go.
Great, and we also have Jason here, Jason Torres. I met also him in Render at TL. And yes, spicy take. We will see. We'll see where we will go. And we have a. Is it bad to be marketing? This can be also one bonus question.
Love it.
Perfect. Nice. So before we get into the main topic. A question which I think is a must in all the Devrel Roundtables events, but I would like to tweak it just a bit. So we are in 2025. What is Devrel in 2025? So maybe let's add this little extra. So what is Devrel and what is being a Devrel in 2025? Who would like to try to answer? And I would like to hear your own definition of Devrel for 2025. Yeah, maybe Liran, you can go.
No worries. I kind of think because and I didn't want to just shoot out the AI stuff, but I just think if we put the hype aside, I think what it enables is a lot of like productivity. And so I wonder if kind of like Devrel in 2025 is a lot about building stuff, just because it's like a lot easier and like so much more accessible. And so just potentially maybe like building stuff, building, demos, building apps, building marketing stuff, building, developer stuff, whatever you want to do. I think it just makes it a lot more easier and doable in this year's rather than, before, where you may have needed to, spend a lot of time doing engineering stuff or maybe sourcing in and stuff like that. So I think that is something that has definitely did not skip Devrel, the whole, AI, LLM kind of generation.
How do you think AI impacted the definition of Devrel, or did it introduce more challenges, more opportunities? How do you view that?
Well, I think personally, it's definitely like more opportunistic. So, I mean, someone was asking whether on this GitHub issue, I don't know if you knew this, but there's like a new Devrel initiative started by the Linux Foundation. That's like a super new thing. Where they're trying to kind of like standardize this. And someone posted, I think earlier today or like in the last couple of days, a question whether like Devrel is going to impact exactly that question. Like how is Devrel impacted from AI? Like is there like workforce reduction and stuff like that? And I think to an extent, it has kind of like the same impact. Like you are potentially more productive building stuff, like we just said, with like, you could just shoot out, cursor or lovable or v0 or something, and just create a demo like super, super fast, right? Like that's something that was harder to do before. So I think it's definitely more productive, but it also has like real life, like day-to-day, I would say kind of like impact for me, right? Like if I write something and I needed to like spend a long time before to write it, I can shoot out something for, an LLM to generate the text for me. And that doesn't mean that I copy paste that into an article, but it definitely like helps me to say where I can do like, hey, suggest some structure for an article about building, an app using Datastax, RAG, or something like that, right? And if I didn't really have an idea before, like how to start the article, like I know what I want to build, but like writing is maybe hard for me, then now it's a lot easier. So definitely is meeting developer relations where they are with AI these days, and it doesn't skip them at all.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Liran. And talking about AI and Datastax, I think we can go with Tejas. I also made a collaboration. I really loved that. So Tejas, what about you? What do you think?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think Devrel in 2025 is largely the same. I think it's a gap. It's a bridge between companies and developers. And like when people ask me what do I do in developer relations, the easiest explanation is it's like customer relations, but your customers are developers. It's just bridging that relationship. However, I think with any relationship, professional or non, what matters is that the relationship has to be authentic. Otherwise, it's a fake relationship. And this is where I think if we talk about Devrel and marketing, I think this is where people tend to say the nuances is that marketing is billboards and promotion and logos here and there, and there's almost an inauthenticity to it because it's not human, it's corporate. And so I think that's where the tension is. But in 2025 specifically, I see I'd say 5 really prominent trends with Devrel. One is, of course, the role of AI. We at Datastax we create a tool called Langflow that's a very declarative way to create AI agents. And we have an internal flow with Langflow that, we post a blog post to our Datastax blog, but instantly this post appears on Dev2 and Medium, for example, just automatic with no effort. And so the role of AI in Devrel is incredible in how it can just automate a bunch of routine tasks. It can also use predictive analytics to identify developer pain points and like how can we serve the community. So I think that's AI for sure. But also in 2025, there's we've heard a lot about PLG, right? Product-led growth, where you have like little ways to take people's money inside the product or grow your customer base in the product. Devrel has community-led growth, or CLG, where you just have a community and this leads the growth of your company. And Francesco, I think you do a great job of that, actually. You have the daily.dev community and it grows the reader base or the user base of daily.dev, I have no doubt. And so I think like a Devrel pipeline around CLG is a big trend. Number 3, sorry, maybe you didn't ask for such a long answer, but you asked and now I can't stop. Product-centered advocacy, I think, is important, because previously, like, Devrel, at least to me, used to be, we're doing promotion to developers, and now it's more, we're going to solve real problems with the product with developers. It's not just mindless promotion, but we're going to build you an SDK, we're going to build you an API, we're going to do the work to build products for you, kind of like Liran was saying. And then the last 2, there's way more participation in 2025 with remote events. So Datastax, we're organizing a remote event tomorrow called Hacking Agents. And we just can, right? It's a lighter lift to just do virtual events as opposed to physical ones. So I think that's a big trend in 2025. And lastly, people are starting to measure Devrel a lot more this year. There's a lot more like, what's the ROI on this? Is this affecting our active users? Should we add some UTMs to these links? Like, it's becoming, and I love that. It just means Devrel is maturing. It's going from this like Wild West, hey, hire an influencer, see what happens, to like, let's drive like actual business outcomes. So those are some trends I see with Devrel in 2025.
Great answer as usual, Tejas, and yes, I agree with all these definitions, and we will see about the trends. Probably we need another episode in a year or so. We made many predictions about 2025, and some of them will be wrong. I also got invited, I think, in an AI prediction one, and everything is recorded, so now I'm doomed. And yes, but we will see. We will see. Nice, thank you. And so, since we are about to and I really see Daphna fighting in the comments because you say that marketing is bad, basically. But you should have we should invite her once. But and what about marketing? So I would like to ask you, like, what's your experience with marketing? How maybe you worked with marketing, or
So
what do you think is the role? Yeah.
I'll give the start. I think there's marketing and then there's developer marketing, right? And those are, although it might sound like a nuance, it's actually a very different thing. So in Daily Dev, we like to say that developer marketing is anything but marketing, as a matter of fact. Reason is that I think developers are just a very, very different type of audience than anything else that's currently on the internet. There are many things that can be said about developers, but I think that one of the most prominent ones is that they can smell bullshit from miles and miles away, right? I think Amir Shvat, if you know him, says that the developers are the best bullshit detectors in the world, right? So if you believe this is true, right? So it goes
That's because
back
we're
to
skeptics at heart, Nimrod.
Skeptics at heart. Yeah, there's all sorts of ways to describe developers, and to some extent, they are rightfully skeptics. Like, a lot of times they think that companies lie to them. Many of these times are actually right, unfortunately, and there's a good reason to be skeptic on the internet, especially on today's internet. But that's probably a topic for a different conversation. But going back to like developer marketing, I think that at the core, it has something that is shared or overlaps with Devrel, which is authenticity, right? So if you do things in an authentic way, and if you build real relationships, whether that's like one-on-one, one-to-few, or one-to-many, whatever, authenticity is always at the core, both in developer marketing and developer relation. Now, just tapping into the AI part of the conversation that was earlier, I think that if you believe that AI can build authentic relationships, right, just by its own, then maybe someday we will have the first AI Devrel. That's like maybe a conversation for another call, or maybe later today.
Just drop that like very very naturally, as if you didn't really say anything.
Yeah, but I think, like, will we see the first AI Devrel? I don't know. Will there be a startup somewhere in Silicon Valley or maybe in China, who knows, that does like the first AI Devrel? I don't know. Like, I still don't. I'm not convinced that AI can definitely chat with humans. We see that now with OpenAI Operator and all these kind of AI agent tools. But I'm not convinced that it can create authentic relationships. Although some people would disagree with products serving AI girlfriends, AI boyfriends, that those kind of things are highly addictive in within some audiences and geographies. So there are definitely good counter arguments, but I still feel that at the core, being authentic and being real with developers and actually helping them win with your platform, win with your tools and whatever it is that you're trying to bring in front of them, that won't be replaced by AI, but the exact opposite. Just going to make you a lot more productive. You're going to be able to spin up demos much faster, as Liran mentioned. You're going to be able to put up better content, and that's generally, I think, a good trend to have. The main challenge, I think, that 2025 nuance of it is, how do you surface above the noise? Right? We can see, if you look almost on a weekly basis, there's some like massive trend that grabs everyone's attention. And if you're a Devrel and you want to build connection with new people, getting their attention during these like peak times of breaking news, that's like nearly impossible. I think that's a challenge that started well in 24, but in 25 it might be even more challenging. So take this week that everyone's talking about DeepSeek and the whole this whole topic. How do you surface above the noise? How do you get better? So I think that is a unique challenge for 2025.
Yeah, I think that with AI, the Devrel role might be even more important because maybe AI is in contrast with trust. No, I don't trust AI tools. So I think that the Devrel role will be replaced after the developers get replaced with AI. So the Devrel role will last a little bit longer. And yes, so and talking about AI, I think also Tejas is working with an AI related company. So there are also many new companies, and they might look for a human Devrel. So this I think that we still have some time to work. I think.
That may be like branching a little bit on the side, but do you believe that beyond just using AI to superpower your own productivity, will you be able to like have a small army of like AI Devrels that are not as smart and not as authentic, but it's like a bunch of Devrels and like AI Devrels that you operate and you tell them what to do, and they listen to your instructions. They do probably like simple stuff. They don't come and talk in like live streams and things like that. They do a lot of other mundane stuff. Do you think this is something that we'll see more in 25, or is it still like in the realm of using AI for your own personal productivity? So you would still write the articles, you would still do the things, you will not outsource it to other agents. How do you view it?
Yeah, I think I can start. I think that it will still be used as a tool. Maybe I don't know. For example, you can ask some AI. I don't know what's the best approach for developers. What is the best approach with that type of user? But I think we still need. I think we will always need that kind of not filter, but like person that creates the human contact. This is what I think that it will be hard to replace. Maybe we will see some experiments. So we see, as you said, like maybe we will see an AI Devrel or AI whatever joining a live stream just because we are humans, so we are curious. I know I will join because I will be curious to see how it behaves, but that's just a human curiosity. It's not that maybe I don't know if it might be actually effective, but humans are curious, so I will probably join.
So Francesco, maybe the next event we should invite an AI Devrel and interview them.
At this point, I don't know if this exists or not yet. But yeah, probably we will have. Maybe we can have another episode just focused on Devrel and AI, because I know that AI it's the thing that will come in 2025, and we have Jason. Let's get this one, and then we'll go back to main topic. I think there still needs to be human element. Same thought. That character is why people are in it. The AI can do the legwork, but it's still got to be done by humans in the human phasing. Yeah. And phrasing your phrases, cadence, and delivery. No, me on the other hand, no, it's not true. It doesn't. You're very hard to be replaced. Very human, very, very friendly person. Great. Nice. So we talked about Devrel, we talked about marketing. So now we are into the main topic of today. So I think it's time to try to answer this. So is Devrel just marketing in disguise, or just maybe the marketing for Devrel, for developers? Sorry. So is Devrel just marketing for developers, or is it something else? Because Nimrod said about marketing for developers. So is Devrel marketing for developers or something different?
No, it's
just unmuted immediately. Go.
Yeah, it's relationships with developers. It's not marketing with developers. So at Datastax, Devrel works under the marketing organization, but it's very clear that it's in the name, relations, right? And so we do marketing work. And by that, I mean, we'll publish blog posts with the right UTM links, and we track things like clicks and conversions, CPMs, etc. But the bulk of it is the relationship. The core of Devrel is the relationship. So it's not, the way I see it and the way I work in Devrel every day is it's like either a subset or a superset of marketing, depending on how you see those things. Like, for example, is TypeScript JavaScript? Yes, and and it's like that. It's like specialized marketing, yeah, where the relationship is the core. And so there are marketing elements, at least in Datastax, the way we do it, but it's more than that. And I think also, to be fair, it depends on the company. Some companies, for whatever reason, will say Devrel and marketing have to be extremely separate, and maybe it makes sense for that company. So from Datastax perspective, Devrel is marketing and more, where the relationship is the key primitive.
Yeah, I can definitely relate, and I think it's just that developer relation is just generally such a diversified field, right? It's like such a domain which you can do so many things. So there are definitely companies, like what's their name? Cloud, the company that does like media. Do you know what? Nimrod, the one that's in Israel one.
Ordinary?
Cloudinary, yeah. I was gonna say Cloudflare because that's like stuck in my head for like the last whatever.
I'm impressed. Yes.
Yeah. But I know like they're, I don't know if still, but they definitely had like a ton of time, like the Devrel team doing SDKs. So like totally something like different, not marketing, not articles, not blogs. Like maybe they did that, but there was, the Devrel team were the ones that developed, the community SDKs. That is something else that's like not entirely what you would expect. But still Devrel does that because maybe those are like, kind of like user-facing, customer-facing sort of activities, which Devrel could do. There's so many things, community is part of that, events, content, product feedback. So like just, running sessions, talking to people, getting feedback from people, just meeting them. Like, I could interview Tejas and ask him, like, how do you feel about like security stuff in your code, and just get that feedback back into like the product managers at Snyk, or just meet them. There's like so many things that are just generally within the Devrel wheelhouse. And so to say that it is, one or the other in terms of like, is it under marketing? Is it under product? Is it under engineering? It's just generally kind of like sometimes a phase of Devrel within a company, or like where the CEO or, the executive teams kind of like want to have more impact. Maybe they move them around, or potentially just reporting, to marketing, but there are still some sub teams within Devrel, which is something that happens, for example, at Snyk, where some teams actually operate more with, with customers, or more with users, and more with like, end user engagement and stuff like that. So I think it's hard to say if there's like a clear cut or not, but definitely if I go back to like the marketing stance, then like I see marketing as kind of like a multiplier, right? Like if you write a blog post as a developer, right? Like not as a developer relation, just as a general developer persona. I write a blog post. Maybe it succeeds, maybe it doesn't. You have no idea if it works or not. If you kind of like bring marketing people to this talk and to this domain, and they say, yeah, maybe you kind of like need to post it to like some other platforms like Dev.that too, so others can see it, reach your community. Maybe they say, hey, maybe you want to track those, and you add those UTM links that they just was talking about. Maybe if you run a workshop, some people sign up, and then those signups, get transferred later into something that's called an MQL. So like the marketing team can reach out, have the conversation of like, hey, you use the product, do you enjoy the free tier? Do you want to do something else? There's like a ton of like marketing stuff that you could do on top of it. So I don't think is it yes or no, or is it bad or no? It's just like a different lens to it. Whether you want to apply it or not is like, your decision in terms of like resources and so many other things. But it's there, and it's you to choose of like how to use like the marketing tool for it.
I can definitely relate. I know that in our experience in daily dev, like marketing and Devrel were working together. Like Devrel is part of marketing at daily dev, but the responsibilities are very different. And I think they're different in two ways. One is in depth, right? Like you wanna reach high level of depth in relationships with people. I think this taps well with what Tejas said. And the second thing is quality, right? So you don't want to just bombard people with a lot of content. When you think of content, let's say content in the context of content in the context. So content in the context of marketing, you'd normally think about product marketing, all sorts of like promotions of different features, or even worse, like SEO content and these kind of stuff that aim for mostly for user or customer acquisition, right? But with developer relations, it's very different. Like content is mostly around in-depth technical content and writing good documentation around the product or your API or whatever you promote. It might sound for like an alien who comes to space and we're trying to explain what the difference between Devrel and marketing might sound the same, but it's actually very, very different.
But they don't contradict. So like that's a good actually example with like SEO. So like SEO, like search engine optimization, is very much under like the marketing wheelhouse like expertise. It's not something that developers like care about. But maybe if I'm a developer and I want to write something about developer security and stuff like that, I actually want to reach like as many developers as I can, but I do not know maybe how to make the article actually stand out and like better in like those first page results from Google or something else. So the marketing team can help and say, yeah, maybe you need to use these and that keywords. Maybe you need to use specific headlines, headers in the article. And it doesn't make the article bad. Like as a developer, you still you bring that authentic whatever opinionated or not content you want. But marketing kind of like sprays this like sugar coating onto it and says, let's kind of like just optimize it so it's great for for being searchable on search engines and getting ranked really, really good. And sometimes, and I had those conversations, I'm sure like everyone here had them, where the marketing team would say, you know what, to get the article to like be first, you have to use specific keywords in the title. And sometimes you say, okay, but like if I use those two specific keywords, they're like completely unrelated, so we're not going to do that. And this is where the developer relations part kind of like steps in and says, hey, like to keep this authentic, we cannot just throw some general whatever keywords that rank. We have to keep it authentic, and that is how those two things kind of like work together. They do not contradict.
Yeah, I can definitely relate, and also one of the like innovative things around the intersection actually of SEO and Devrel, I think, happened at Snyk. There's probably like a bunch of other examples, but I think one of the wisest, smartest marketing projects that I've seen is Snyk Advisor. I don't know.
Thank you for that.
But I mean, some people like it, some people don't. But I think this is actually a tool that had in mind both the aim to reach developers at scale, right, leveraging Google's reach, etc., but also giving real value around open source libraries and their vulnerability. So, and it's very difficult to find ways to leverage programmatic SEO that way that actually give value to developers. I think that's a unique example.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Liran, can you explain, like, maybe for everyone, what this advisor is? Just
give us also a quick demo. No, just kidding.
next time, yeah.
No,
the demo gods be with you.
It's actually like completely started as like a side project thing that was not like I think it had like a marketing idea for it, but definitely not the way it ended up. And the idea was like, should we like just score packages like on NPM and other platforms? We even did like Docker images and just like give them, because like when I want to choose a package, I open NPM, I see the downloads count, I see maybe dependencies, and I go to GitHub and I see if it's, when was the last commit, or like if there's a community around it, how many issues are open, are the tests passing? There's like a bunch of stuff. And so we said, how about we can like wrap all of this thing as something that's called like package health sort of thing. And then we kind of categorize that into maintainability, popularity, security, community, like different areas. And then we can like give them weights and score them. And it's really just that. It's really just a tool where you could, search for open source packages to, get these insights. These days, I think, it's been running for definitely like, I think since 2020, maybe a bit before. So, there's like a lot of other competition and stuff like that. So you might end on different pages, but the programmatic SEO part of it was like, hey, you know what? We kind of like need to index the entire like NPM registry. And there's like a lot of programmatic SEO. Like there's a technical field where, creating kind of like sitemaps and creating like categorization. So like, here are all the NPM packages that give you AI LLM interfaces, and then you can generate those like a sitemap, and it's like there's like a tree of how you can drill down, and there's like a lot of like very SEO-ish kind of like brilliant takes on how to execute that. So if you search for packages, it's a very good chance that the Snyk advisor kind of ranks first, and it's also an incredible kind of like valuable tool to developers to just get that insight. But at the same time, for Snyk, also valuable at like user acquisition. So developers use that, and then go on and say, yeah, maybe I'll also like use Snyk to like find the vulnerabilities in my dependencies and stuff like that. So it's kind of like an all-around tool that's like been super helpful and definitely like executed within the company across like Devrel and product and marketing.
Thank you so much, Liran. I think that this was a great idea. So one tool that does one thing, it's always a good idea, and also many good projects they start as a side project, like Devrel, for example, and other cool examples. Yes, thank you. I would like to ask Tejas something about your experience, maybe in how like marketing and Devrel maybe they worked together. I don't know. I know that you travel a lot. You do a lot of public speaking. So from your experience, like I don't know, some good examples of maybe how they might actually still collaborate and not be like enemies each other. So which are like some good examples?
Yeah. So it's true. I travel a lot and do quite a lot of public speaking. However, I'm trying to do less of that this year. This is a very good question, because if we think about Devrel and marketing, and if we're working with the same definition and sort of boundary that we all stated earlier, which is Devrel is a subset or superset of marketing, meaning it's marketing and the intersection is really interesting at Datastax, because let's use the example of an event. So I think we are developers or InfoBip Shift or something like this, or maybe both. These are conferences, and in marketing, Devrel is a part of marketing, but also what's a part of marketing is field marketing. This is also like a specialized type of marketing where there's people in a specific market, in our case, EMEA or Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And these people are skilled, highly specialized, skilled to just like know their product intimately and like know customer needs intimately, and then sort of bridge that gap. So it's not Devrel, but it's almost like B2B Devrel. It's like it's Bizrel, And so field marketing is part of marketing just as much as Devrel is part of marketing. And so when I go to conferences, if we sponsor those conferences, usually someone or maybe more people from field marketing will accompany me to these. Liran actually spoke at one of our meetups that we organized around InfoWeb Shift, where there was a bunch of Datastax field marketing people who were there to do exactly what we do in Devrel, but not to developers, but to do that to people with companies and businesses who are trying to unlock AI potential. And so that's how marketing and Devrel really interplay. Is like it's a team effort where we're really great at talking to developers. We'll make the SDKs and the demo apps and the blog posts and the videos, but at least speaking for myself, I kind of suck at business. I don't know anything about B2B sales, and so we need that complement for marketing. We also need the complement for hey, how are you different than this competitor, which is also probably someone in marketing. So it's a beautiful vertical with many different horizontal complementary steps, and we often travel together to fill those gaps to conferences and such.
Yes, thank you, Tejas, and I didn't know that you made like other collaborations with Iran, but I know that you travel a lot, so this was not intentional, but this is great.
Yeah, and it was this specific meetup where Liran gave me snacks that he brought especially from Israel for me.
You see, they always remember when you give some
Which
snacks.
Which ones?
I don't remember what they tasted like, but there was Hebrew on the label. But it was like this orange bag of chips, but it wasn't chips. It was.
I think it was Bisley. I don't remember, but I think it was that.
And there was halva. Dude, this halva was exceptional.
Oh yeah.
I think I will base my next travels based on where Snyk has a stand now. So now I will check, and out of them I will reach out.
Makes sense.
Wait, hang on a second. No, that's the thing about Devrel, right? I didn't get this from a Snyk stand. He gave it to me because he's my friend, and I think this is the interesting thing about Devrel is that line can blur, and I think that's really the sign of good Devrel is like, are you my friend or are you just some contact? And do I get snacks from you because we're friends, or do I get snacks from you when I come to your booth? And I think this is really the distinction between DevRel and marketing. If you're in DevRel long enough, and if your tech community is strong enough and deep enough, then there's no need to go to a booth. Like, he literally posted to you from Israel if the postal service works. And I think that's sort of it. And so I think this is like, I worked at Replay for a little while, replay.io. I don't know what they're doing now, but when I was there, one of the requirements for DevRel was the CEO, Jason, at the time, who's no longer the CEO. He mentioned, if you want to be really good at DevRel at Replay, I want you to know from memory, if I ask you, the name of the dog of some random person in our community. I want you to know them that well, at least 100. So he had like their first 100 users in a database, and he was like, these people, I want you to be like their best friend, and I want you to know everything about them. Of course, not in a crazy invasive way, but like whatever they share with you. But I want you to have a very close relationship with them. And that to me is DevRel. So I think it's an interesting distinction here, Francesco, that you bring up. Like, I'll come to the booth, because that's marketing. Going to the booth is marketing, and him sending stuff to your PO box or even your home is DevRel.
Yeah, so because usually you have all these things and the food. So in my brain, I imagine it is on a stand. You were more like a snack dealer, basically, Liran. So yeah.
Yeah, I deal with vulnerabilities and snacks. That's me.
Also,
Rename the company
sneak
to
and
Snyk.
snacks it's a great pun word. Yes, and I think now it's time, if we have 10 more minutes or 5 more minutes, for some bad examples. So, or maybe we don't have to mention companies, but maybe we can talk about maybe something that from your experience is what like makes like maybe Devrel being marketing in the worst possible way, or if you have some ideas, or maybe something that you saw that maybe didn't work out, or maybe it has been like, I don't know, done in a bad way. What do you think? Do you have some examples? I'm sure we have, but let's
I'll
see.
go first. I don't mind.
Mhm.
It feels a little bit like, the DevOps conferences have like horror nights where someone is like, yeah, my first day on the job, I just deleted the prod database. Yay. I kind of feel like this is the same segment. But I'll go from my experience. So this is me and my story, and I'm very passionate. I think on the job, and I think that's kind of like maybe sometimes overshows. And I do remember myself kind of like one of the issues that was happening on some GitHub repository, and I was like, related to security, obviously, and I was like kind of like interjecting myself very unnaturally to a conversation. I was like, hey, yeah, I work at Snyk, and like if you use that, we can probably detect that for you and stuff like that. It was a bit disconnected from everything else, and people were like, yeah, okay, but like don't like don't mention that. That's like not the context here. And so I kind of like had my first lesson. This is like super early when I kind of like joined Snyk, because like developer advocacy was like my first thing ever from being a developer before. So I was super new to this, inexperienced, didn't really know how to like manage those sort of what we call today as relationships. And I've like made that like, obvious mistake of, not understanding the context. So yeah, I mean, you could do, bad Devrel if you want to, I guess. That's my story.
Yeah, I think the worst thing about bad DevRel is when people make it abundantly clear that they don't care about you. And usually this is when the ratio of like talking to listening is just not favorable for the person you want to build a relationship with, So like I've seen DevRel go wrong when someone just will not stop talking about their thing. And also I've seen DevRel go wrong when people will have like expectations that you already know about their thing. So weird. It's like it's totally normal for people to not have heard of Snyk or Datastax. Like if I say I work at Datastax and someone's like, "Oh, what's that?" and for me to go like, "What? You don't know what Datastax is?" That's just what.
Yeah.
And then the third thing, I've seen DevRel go really wrong where it's just very clear that you're a number to fill a quota. And this inhibits the relationship, right? And same along the lines of like being fake with marketing. So
Yeah, in my case, I have two bad examples. I think the first one is that I think from Eddie Jaude in person, that a company was just hiring a Devrel, but it was just a developer, but they needed a Devrel like as a role in the company. So so we have a Devrel, but that person was coding all the time. So just to say that we have a Devrel, but without Devrel activities.
Speaking of hiring mistakes, like I've seen a bunch of.
Yeah, it's just like bad management. It's not even bad.
Yeah, that's like we need a Devrel, but we need just someone who writes code. And
some would say I was a hiring mistake.
Another one might be like hiring a Devrel without a marketing team. In that case, you are the marketing team. I mean, maybe if the team is expanding, is okay, but if not, like you are if there is no marketing team, you are the marketing team because of a Devrel. Which I think it depends company to company, but yes, that's might end
if
up.
If the DeepSeek model is free, then you are the data.
Yeah, it's similar. Nice. Nimrod, do you have anything else that we want to ask?
I have one question for Liran, but I'd love to get your perspective and Tejas' perspectives as well. Liran, you've been doing Devrel for how many years so far?
A little bit over 6 years at Snyk. This is like the only place I've done that, so I don't have any other.
And you've seen and you were the first Devrel at Snyk, right? If I'm not wrong.
The second. So Simon Maple was running Devrel at Snyk before that, and then I think I was like his first hired for the team.
And what would you say has like, if you had to put your finger on like one thing that dramatically changed in what Devrel is from 6 years back to today, what would be that thing?
In general, at Snyk, like make it more specific. It's very ambiguous.
I think generally in the industry, like when you just started doing Devrel, was that very different from today, or is it like still more or less the same?
I think it's different because the company is different. I think at first it was very much like the classic early stage where you want to grow like, top of the funnel content marketing and stuff like that. And over time it grew to like being a more diverse Devrel skill set. So we literally went on to do things like, content still remained something important, but and events was like, very kind of like the basic thing, two things you kind of like want to, put an arrow on and do it as like a checklist. But then we also did a bunch of like, those side projects, like the Snyk Advisor. We had a bunch of other things as well. And we started doing a lot of those too. We started doing a lot of like, kind of like office hours, a lot of meetings, programs like, like Snyk ambassadors and stuff like that. It wasn't a marketing play. It was an actual Devrel play. And so I think kind of like, being able to like scale up and diversify from doing just content to doing, workshops and demos and customer sessions and, hackathons and, basically building that skill set and capabilities under Devrel for a company like Snyk was the thing that made it more successful. So I think that's the one to call out.
That's fascinating. And I think, for me as an outsider, I'm not a Devrel myself, but as an outsider, I think that one of the most remarkable things that happened over the course of the last several years is that some people, they actually become the face of the company. So I wonder like how many people think of you when they think of Snyk, right? And how many people think of Francesco when they think of Daily Dev and all these other examples. I think this is something that became more and more dominant. And I think it's if we keep on in that pace, that's going to be even more. So, I'm humbled to see that. I've been seeing your work for a lot of time, and it's really interesting how that evolved.
I think though that can be problematic because if Liran leaves Snyk, like there's gonna be like oh my god, what did they do to him? Like was there controversy? This happens all the time. This happened when Lengstorff left Netlify. This happened when I left Zeta. You eventually become the person that they associate with the company, and it's tricky how you like transition out at that stage.
I actually experienced that from the. Oh, sorry, Francesco. I just want to say, I was thinking gonna do a different play on that day, just where I get associated with Snyk on so many things, like people randomly from different ecosystems. Like I don't do really much of like Python or Go, but people will like DM me or send something and say, hey, you know what, can Snyk, help us with this and that, and they automatically like associate me as like the Snyk contactor, so to say, which is sometimes very weird.
Liran as a service. We should have the AI Liran. Actually, I think that it's about time.
No, me and Tejas gonna be natural all the way. No bots, no AI, nothing.
Boring humanity. Nice. Great. Now, just I was just saying that basically we are becoming like the actor of a series. So it's like, I mean, it's replaceable, but still, like, it might feel maybe just feel strange.
Or like
for a couple of
Cristiano
episodes.
Ronaldo on a football team.
I like that reference.
Great. So I think we are close to the end, but maybe before that, I would like to ask. We can start from Tejas. Like, if you have some final thoughts about marketing and Devrel. So, do you think they have to work separately? Do you think they need to work together? Do you think that there is something else that we can add to this very nice conversation?
I think there just needs to be alignment in an organization. That's all. There just needs to be like, what is our goal? What do we need to do? And let's do it. Unfortunately, as you scale with the number of people in a company, you lose this. And I can say that I worked at an 8,000 people company, bro. This was like difficult there. Versus now I'm at a 700 people company and it's way easier. In fact, this is the best job I've ever had in my life, right? Because we're very aligned, and marketing and Devrel and field marketing and high velocity motion or sales and all the teams, we're all moving towards a common goal. And the culture within the company, because of this alignment, is you can just do things. So I have an idea and I just ship it. I can ask for feedback and stuff, but 9 out of 10 times, if I don't, it's fine. Because and this is something I saw Malte from Vercel say today. Malte is the CTO, where he was talking about how they run things at Vercel, which is very similar to how I operate at Datastax, which is they do vetoes. So everybody just gets to do whatever they want, ship whatever they want, and someone in authority can veto it, kind of like the president of the United States can say, no, we're not doing that. But they don't need approval. And I think this is something that I think is useful for Devrel and marketing, is and it can unlock velocity, is to just say, hey, we don't need like sign off by like 3 different people who don't really care because they're very rich. Instead, we just do it, and if it's problematic, we'll veto it, but just execute. I think that's the key for marketing and Devrel to have synergy. And what unlocks that just sort of like unchecked execution is alignment. If marketing, Devrel, and all the other orgs are aligned on the same goal, then just execute. Yeah.
I really like this approach, because this, I think, gives like space to creativity, which I think is an important component. If you need to work in Devrel, you need to do some crazy and weird stuff sometimes, but this is part of the job. So I really love this approach. I never heard about that. So great.
Yeah, and sometimes if you need to go through like a chain of approvals, it may land on someone's desk who is like been in the industry for 45 years and doesn't really get the appeal this will have to your developer audience, and this raises questions, and then you need to have meetings about that to answer that, and at the end you're just like, why, I'm probably not going to do this. The time has expired. Like I think a great example of just exceptional Devrel, who's not even really like by job title Devrel, is like the CEO of Perplexity, Arvind Srinivas. Like, the dude just shipped support for R1 in Perplexity, like from one day to the next. I can't imagine that happening in like an 8,000 people company where multiple people need to approve that, right? Even for me, like I can make a video. In fact, I was surprised to find my company shipped a video on using DeepSeek R1 or DeepSeek with Langflow, our product. They shipped it the same day as DeepSeek became the first app in the US App Store, without me even knowing, because that's just how we operate. We just do things. And I think that's the way, for that reason. Like you said, Francesco, like there's no one that can stop something because the default is to go.
Very intriguing. Very intriguing.
Tejas has always some great gem to share. I'm sure we're gonna stay here.
You kept the knowledge bomb for the end. I see.
Great. No, I'm sure about that. Yes. And Liran, do you have some final thoughts about this marketing episode?
Yeah, I'm just gonna riff on what they just said first off, and just say that I think there's like a lot to learn from his experience, because he has been working on so many different organizations and doing a lot of like front facing, like user and customer facing activities. So like having his experience is just like so valuable. So I learned from this a bit, and I kind of want to riff on this and say, if you go into developer relations and you're like a very technical person and did not come from marketing, your natural kind of like place is going to be that skeptic Devrel thing, where you have like an aversion to marketing and you like, dismiss them and look down on them and stuff like that. So my advice is do everything in your power to kind of like embrace marketing, and do not see that as like the aliens. And as soon as you understand it and learn from it and know how to, work with marketing people, kind of are able to use that as like another tool in your toolbox as a developer and as a Devrel person. So that's my advice.
Thank you, Liran. Nimrod, let's end this second episode. And you have been co-host here for 2 times. So if you come next time, then we are like co-hosts together forever. So you need to choose wisely. If you join next time, like after the 3rd time, we are friends, and again we'll do this together. So you're not more like, you can join like randomly anymore. So Nimrod, please give some final thoughts, and then we can end up this second episode of the Devrel Roundtable.
My final thoughts may sound off topic, but I think it's something that's generally good to keep in mind, which is just, be kind. It doesn't cost you money, but a lot of other people will definitely appreciate that. So, if you can be kind or not be kind, always choose to be kind. This is my final advice.
That's great. So since you have done like so kind one, like maybe I can end with saying that like we mention, like for example, articles on Dev.to. We have been like quiet for the whole episode, but maybe at the end we can remember that most of these articles, also something about that Datastax I found, it's basically on the Daily Dev platform. So maybe it's time to just remind this, because it's a platform for developers. So this is not something that it's random, but basically all the big companies they have articles and now also videos and squads on Daily Dev. I will leave all the links below. We also have the link to Tejas and Liran, so you can of course follow both of them, and if you meet them at a conference, be sure to take a selfie with them. And yes, so
next.
should take a selfie all together. But for example, I don't have a selfie with both Tejas and Liran, and either less with Tejas and Liran and Nimrod. That's
goals for 2025. We have it.
Yeah, why not? So thanks everyone for coming. I think that this has been a very nice episode. I think it was a very interesting question. We talked a bit about AI, but I think it's fine. Maybe we'll have a separate episode dedicated to that. Very nice conversation. Thank you, Tejas and Liran, for coming. Thank you so much, Nimrod, for co-hosting. And I think it's time to wrap up and think about the next episode. Usually it should be maybe at the end of February. For now, we are doing this once a month. Okay? So thank you, everyone, and see you in the next episode. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.